Lord, let your will be done. That is what we're going to talk about today on this episode of TJ's Topics. And with that, I would like to welcome each and every one of you. Glad to have you once again. I consider it a joy, an honor, and a privilege to be able to come into your presence on any given occasion. Lord, let your will be done. That is what we're talking about today. Now, why would I have that for a topic? Well, it's more than just a topic. It's actually a prayer that many of us have heard said on numerous occasions by numerous individuals. Usually, when it involves a loved one or someone who is close to us, like it's like for example, if someone who is near and dear to us is going through a major illness, they have been sick for a long time, in and out the hospital, and doctors have pretty much done everything that they know how to do, and they have pretty much wiped their hands with the matter. They have notified the family and told them that there is nothing else that they can do. Well, oftentimes families and friends and neighbors and what have you, they come together and they start praying for this individual, whoever it is. And they are trusting and believing God for a miracle, hoping and praying that this person is going to pull through, that they're going to survive, and that they will be able to come out of the hospital, or, if they're in a coma or whatever it is they're dealing with, and get well, be able to go back to living the life that they enjoyed prior to getting sick. Well, sometimes it doesn't work out like that. And eventually that person makes their transition. They leave here and go on to the other side. But there's that prayer that they pray in the meantime. Lord, let your will be done. But there's a reason why people pray that prayer. And a lot of folk don't know exactly what that reason is. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. One of the biggest reasons why they will say that prayer on behalf of this individual who is not showing any sign of recovering from their illness is mainly because this person, as much as they're loved and cared for and admired by their family and friends, because of their illness and their lack of ability to do what they once did, they have become sort of a stumbling block in the lives of their loved ones. They're not able to do anything. They're not able to go anywhere, and they're being looked out for and taken care of day in and day out by somebody. Usually a family member or a home health nurse, or if they're in hospice, they're being taken care of around the clock. Well, usually that becomes a problem after a long period of time. After a certain amount of time has passed and that individual is not recovering, that becomes a burden on the family, because the family is really not equipped, medically or financially, to continue taking care of their loved one. So when they pray that prayer, asking the Lord to let his will be done, essentially what they're asking for is divine intervention. By that I mean they inwardly are looking for God to come on and move on their behalf, whatever that move might consist of. And in doing so, the family will be able to go on with their lives. They can move forward. They can go ahead on and carry out the plans and the goals and the intentions that they have already set in place. But all that's being held up on account of this individual right here. See, the truth of the matter is, your family may love you and they may care about you, but it's only a matter of time before they grow weary of you. Eventually, they get tired of you. They may not tell you that to your face, but if you stay down long enough, and if you don't show any sign of coming back this way, as the old folks said, then they become filled with dread, and they have this agonizing emotion that comes over them because they don't know anything else to do. They've done all they could to try to keep you comfortable, try to make things pleasant for you and stuff for this person. But if there's nothing else they can do, and they're not doctors, they're not nurses, they're not medical assistants or anything like that, they don't have degrees or experience in anything pertaining to the medical field. Therefore, they're not equipped to handle the situation that their loved one is in. But they trust and believe that God is able and that he can and will do something to make life better for them. Well, one way that life can be made better for them is if that individual was removed altogether. Meaning that when they pray that prayer, Lord, let your will be done, what they're basically asking for is for the Lord to come on in and move that person out the way so that they can go on with their lives and do things that they have already set out to do. That house can't be sold as long as that person is there, or it can't be renovated as long as that person is there. That truck can't be driven by another family member as long as that person is there. That car can't be given away or somebody else can have as long as that person is there. All that jewelry, all that it can't be worn, that money can't be spent as long as that person is there. And so many other things are held up as long as that individual is there. So keep that in mind. The next time you see someone you love becomes ill and stays ill for a long time and never shows any sign of recovery. When you hear somebody pray that prayer, Lord, let your will be done, you will know exactly what they're asking for. They're asking for divine intervention, for the Lord to come on in and make a move on their behalf so that they can move on with their lives and carry out their own plans. That's what that prayer means, ladies and gentlemen. Lord, let your will be done. And on that note, I would like to say thank you very much for tuning in to this episode of TJ's Topics. Please join me again next time, okay? When I will have something else of interest for you. This is Taryn Jerome Harris, reminding you that every round goes higher and higher. Bye bye.